So how are you all doing today? Life is,
Good.
life
I'm
is,
good. I've got a full-time job.
you have a full-time job. What is your full-time job, Laurie?
Project site management.
Yay.
Nancy knows.
I
Yes,
know.
Yep,
yes, that is a
Especially when
full-time job. Yes.
it is. We're digging the footers tomorrow.
Oh,
Yay.
wow. Yay. Oh, congratulations.
Finally.
Oh, that is wonderful.
it makes it real.
Yes.
It is. We're the site's prepared. It's all packed in. Our geotech's done. The tortoises are happy, which means Mama's happy, and the footers start tomorrow.
Oh, wow. I love that asparagus picture. That was
That's what they look like to me.
it does. Okay, so it's not just me then.
No, it's
Good.
not just you.
Because every time I drive by one of those that are,
In that
spiking,
state.
I'm there like, I wish. Like that would be so cool.
That would be like get a whole pig, put it on a spit, roast one asparagus, and serve everybody.
Yes. All right. So let's pull.
And I'm just goofy that way. We cut down the spikes because our neighbors across the street, prevailing winds last year meant that they got about 1,000 agave babies that just was making them absolutely crazy. And since century agave is not native,
Right.
I do not feel bad about cutting off those spikes. And
That's
I don't
right.
need any more babies either, because I have like 300 of them that I'm going to let run their course. So,
Okay.
but not produce babies.
Good job. Good job.
Is there a spay and neuter program for agave?
I think that you've implemented it already. Yes. All right. So let me drop this down. I want to share with you all something really, really awesome. And I'm sure that some of you have seen it already, but it's so important to highlight it. Isn't he beautiful? It's a little blue heron.
It's not a little one.
And our Angelica Meza, from the most recent class, she took this photo.
Fabulous.
Isn't it amazing? So between Angelica and Susan Taylor, we've been putting up some really, really good, useful information on the Master Gardeners public page, right? Angelica has so many more pictures of the same quality with the same kind of eye. And I'm just glad to have her on board, because then I don't have to be running around thinking, oh, I missed an opportunity for a great photograph or anything like that, right? So between the two of them, they've collaborated, and the focus for the Facebook page is going to be what we've been promoting through the Master Gardener volunteer page, really, through the program, which is just Florida friendly landscaping, lagoon focus, and it's pictures like this. She has this on her Facebook page, but she'll be sharing it to our Facebook page really, really soon. So little things like this, and then we'll share information just like I did with this one, right? Where we just put a few publications, what this, caption the scene and share something really, really useful about the photograph. Look at that.
Ooh, pretty.
Isn't that awesome? So, yeah. So these are some of the things that we have to look forward to when we're sharing things. Isn't that adorable?
That looks like the Bahamas
That's someplace else. That's
or the
someplace,
British Virgin Islands, actually.
yeah, that's someplace else entirely. But
Mm-mm-mm.
I just wanted to highlight some of the very excellent photography that you all are going to be seeing coming up on our Facebook page, and to let you all know that that is coming from one of our latest recruits. And so it's very, very hard for us to see one another and to encourage one another in person these days. So just drop her a line and let her know that you saw her blue heron and it's a beautiful photograph and you appreciate her efforts. I certainly appreciate her efforts because I don't get enough opportunities to go down to the lagoon and just take it in, you know? So it is very important that we encourage one another in all of the big and little things that we do. I'm very grateful to Susan Taylor for wanting to even take this on. She has the skill set for it, which is, that is just perfect, right? So former librarian and eventual web page manager. So that is, and the love for plants and the environment. I mean, what better combination could we ask for? So yes. And if you all have any amazing pictures, please do forward them to Susan Taylor, and she'll work on helping to make sure that the captions and that we attach some of our research-based information to that caption every chance that we get. Let me see now. I really don't have a whole lot to tell you all because not much at all. So that's how things have been going with me. How are things with you all? What have you all been up to? And
Today I was raking leaves to cover some of the plants I know are going to be very unhappy if it really is 38 on Christmas. And I have, you know, the Aurelia don't like the cold and the red hot hibiscus don't like the cold. And I'm afraid even after the little bit of cold we had a couple weeks ago, that this could do them in. So I've been raking leaves this morning.
Wow.
And then I'll have to water them too, I think, before. Because I don't know if they're saying it's going to rain, but I usually water them and then protect them. I don't know about my baby citrus, but I think they'll be fine.
Okay, so that was actually on my list of things to talk with you all about today. So I'm glad that you brought that up, Nancy. Yes, the temperatures are going to drop. And when we're in the 40s, it's not so bad on our landscape. There are still some things that'll burn and feel abused, especially if we have a wind chill factor added to it. So for cold protection, right, we have a really nice publication on cold protection as well. And it talks about the ways that we should water our plants first thing in the daytime. That's because that water is going to absorb some of the heat from the sun during the rest of the day. And it is going to help to buffer the cold weather as it comes through overnight. All right, so you definitely want to water your plants very well tonight. And
night or closer to
today, sorry.
Okay.
You want to water all of your plants that you have that are going to be left outdoors. You want to give them a good watering today. All right. And then what you want to do is, like, if you know that you're going to have the wind blowing from the west or from the east, you can put up a sheet. You don't want to put the sheet on top of the plant. You don't want the sheet to touch the plant, but you want to keep the plant from getting abused by the breeze, right? So that's another thing. If you have large trees in your landscape and you've got potted things, you can put them underneath those large trees, because the tree canopy then will also create a microclimate. Okay. So these are things that you can do to help your plant get through that whole entire situation. So that is one of the things that I'm going to go ahead and post onto Facebook as well for the people who are actually here in county, so that they can get a little refresher on what to do for the next couple days, because the forecast for tonight, I think we're dropping into the 40s again. And that is also, you know, a little bit colder than what you want to have for your plants to be suffering through. But for sure, over the next few days, be very, very sure to give your plants a good drink. Now we're supposed to have some rain at some point. I think it's going to be like Thursday. So depending on how much rain falls on Thursday, then you might not have to be too concerned about how low the temperature drops on Friday. But for any time when we're having significant cold weather, you want to make sure that you water your plants. I've not been out doing a whole heck of a lot of any decent management in my landscape lately, but I have actually been out there to water some of the things that I need to at least keep going a little bit. So get your plants watered in, let the sunlight from the rest of the day today keep that warm and help it create a little steaming buffer around the plants that you've got that are cold tender. And then check the internet forecast, see which direction the winds are going to be blowing in from. So like the winds are coming from the north today, northeast into the next 24-hour period. So try to put something up to shield your plant from that northern wind. If it's something that, you know, like I have a couple of little things out in the front yard, but for the most part, the building of my house and then the buffer from the tree line and the fence line from the north help to mitigate some of the breeze that blows in from it. Now, if it was coming from the west, I'd have a lot more problems. Like I have problems with my papayas. I had 3 papaya suckers that I planted into the western line, where I had all those cabbage palms and the huge, I think it's like a foxtail palm or something like that on the side of my house. I don't really pay enough attention to really, really know what it is, but I think it's a foxtail palm. Because I can't eat it. I just clean up after it all the time. So having said that, I have papayas growing in there, and I have like a few other things that like a plum tree, guinea tree. So those are the things, but I put them within those other plants so that they don't get completely blown over. They have a little bit of a wind buffer. Now I just have to manage the way that it grows into the sunlight. But I'll go out there later on today with my, well, not later on today. I'll go out there after I'm done doing this and give them all a really good drink of water, because they're still so young and they might not make it through that kind of a frost without a lot of help from me. And I keep those little fence posts, the metal fence post things where you run the wire through the little jagged things that you can hold it. That's what I use sometimes in my yard. I did it last year for the mango trees. I just put 2 of them on one side, on each side, and I just put a shower curtain, because I could get a shower curtain from the dollar store for like $1. Well, it's the dollar store, duh. So I put up the shower curtain, and that just took some of the breeze and sent it sideways from my little my little mango trees. So I'll probably do that again this evening because yeah, 30 something is not what my very tropical plants are used to. So, but definitely water your plants today. Give it an opportunity to start storing some of that heat. That is one of the very, very best things. Make sure that you have adequate mulch around it. That's what Nancy Madsen was talking about, where she's raking leaves and putting them and tucking in her plants. Make sure that you're doing that as well, because that is important. And make sure that if you are covering up anything, that what you're covering it with is not touching the actual plant, because then your plant will most likely burn, okay? And the other thing with covering, you want to cover if there's going to be a frost, which means that when the dew falls, it's going to freeze and turn into ice, right? That's basically what we talk about when we're talking about having a frost event. Well, this is not a frost event. At least it's not scheduled to be a frost event. It's just scheduled to be a cold temperature event. Those are two different things. So if it turns into a frost event, which I'm hoping it will not, then you should, cover. It's good enough for a temperature event that you just mitigate for the wind damage and not for frost. Those are all very different things. Sometimes people use them interchangeably. That is not very useful for our purposes, all right? Because if we say that 37 degrees is a frost event, then we're going to be encouraging people to use methods for the water freezing on top of the plant. That's a frost event. We are dealing with a temperature event. So a frost event has a temperature component, but just the temperature alone is a completely different thing. So make sure that you consider all of these things and keep a check on the weather from today until Friday to see what the changes in the forecast might happen to be, so that you're prepared. All right, having a plan to succeed. It's always so very, very easy to fail. You don't have to plan to do that at all. All right. So that was one of the other things that I wanted to just touch on for you all. Okay. COVID-19 update. Our numbers are increasing. I'm aware that at least one among our master gardeners has contracted the disease. So please say a prayer for that person and their family, because it's already been one heck of a year. It has. It's been one heck of a year. Continue to be vigilant, folks. Continue to socially distance yourselves. Have lunch over Zoom. I had sandwiches with a very precious friend of mine a couple days ago. I picked them up, dropped off theirs, let them know when I got home, and we ate our sandwiches and had our chips on Facebook chat. There are ways to do these things. Be as safe as you possibly can. All right. I go to the office, I come home, I order groceries, I open the trunk and they put them in and I go about my business. I think that I've been in physical contact with maybe 6 people in the past, maybe a week and a half, if that many people, because I know who I keep company with. My son will be here. He'll be coming in from school. He lives in an apartment with 4 people, and he works at a nursing home where he calls me and tells me all about the little people that he loves. So I know that for the next few weeks, I will be standing very, very far with a mask on from everybody who I know down here. There will be no exceptions, because that's what you have to do, right? Folks, try to treat yourselves with kindness and be very, very careful. You don't want to find out that you have another or an underlying condition that you were not aware of. So yeah, holidays this year are difficult, even for me, and I don't celebrate them. Even for me, because I have to still deal with the people who I share love with, and they might celebrate holidays. Yeah. So you all please be very, very careful. It's been a rough year. It's been a good year as well. And if we can manage to do this year, then hopefully we won't have to do it next year. So we see that that vaccinations have begun, because the FDA has given approval for the Pfizer and for the I can never remember their name, but it's the one that begins with M. Moderna. Thank you. Yes. And I've been watching a few. So I've always liked the weird things. So I listened to a podcast the other day about the wonderful fellow who worked for Merck years and years ago. And so that was a wonderful thing that I could listen to on NPR about the modern father of vaccines. And he used his daughter's mumps. Was it mumps? I think it was mumps. And went and made the vaccine for mumps. I think that's so awesome. And he had the record for the quickest vaccine approval, which was 4 years. So with us having had various coronaviruses before, we've gotten, so we at least know what the family looks like, right? So we know some of the ins and outs within that family. And those of us who are sorry, y'all. I took medicine for my migraine. So between the migraine and the medicine, I'm super slow. So those of us who are engaging in vegetable gardening and everything, you all have heard me talking about plant families, right? And how they share certain similarities, and that is the reason why they're in that family, botanical similarities. Well, that's the same thing with viruses. Some viruses share certain similarities, certain traits and everything. So that's why they're grouped into that family. So when we say coronavirus disease 19, that's identifying the type of viral disease it is and what year we encountered it in, right? That way we know specifically which one it is we're talking about, because there are lots of them.
Kind of like Heinz 57.
Right, like Heinz 57. And then the other thing is, so since we didn't hear everybody saying SARS coronavirus until this year. We used to just say SARS to identify it, or other things like that, but they're all in the same family. So we've been playing with some of its sisters and cousins and everything for years now. So please don't think that it is absolutely necessary to be overly skeptical about the speed at which that's the other thing, we have accomplished this, because it is not one small laboratory in a university or at a chemical company that is working on one particular thing, right? This is a collaboration of thousands of people working day and night through all of these months. So what one person might have done, and it took that one person and their lab crew 4 years to accomplish with the technology that they had at the time, we have advanced technology. We have some of its relatives in our freezers that we've been abusing for years, right? And it was basically a whole entire army of scientists engaging in this war. So I keep on seeing the posts on Facebook talking about people who are taking it, people who aren't taking it. It's entirely up to you. I'm a scientist. I had to go find out for myself, right? Read and understand for myself why someone would say, well, we've been fighting AIDS for over 40 years and we haven't found anything. Well, there's a reason for us not finding anything on HIV. HIV is the only one of its kind that we've encountered up until then, right? So we haven't had opportunity to deal with HIV's first cousins and great aunts the way that we've had to deal with different coronaviruses. So please do your own research, look into it yourself, and make a conscious decision as to whether or not and when, if you decide to become vaccinated. But in the interim and even afterwards, take every precaution necessary with yourself. That is the most important thing. Either way you come down on the side of, for, or against the vaccine, be very, very sure that you take all of the necessary precautions with yourself. Just continue to be very careful and exercise as much caution as possible with yourselves. That is it. That is all I have to tell you all about for the day. I have to go and head my way into the office. I'll probably make myself some coffee when I get there because I haven't even done that yet today. Julia, it's so nice to see your smile. You all have yourselves a wonderful day. Be safe.
I forgot the meeting. Sorry.
Huh?
I forgot the meeting.
It's okay.
Karen texted me and reminded me of the meeting. I actually thought it was my Karen niece in Michigan who wants to come down sometime soon. And I thought it was her. So I was in my pajamas when Karen said the Zoom. So I said, oh my God, I got to brush my hair. I got to take my robe off. I've been out in the yard with my robe and slippers doing my thing and counting my birds and looking at the visit from the armadillo and the newly planted flower beds that I renovated. So I was just texting Karen. She said the freeze or cold weather was coming. Oh my God, this whole week I've invested in revamping.
It's okay.
5 of my gardens, 5 of them.
It's okay. All you do is make sure that you go and you water them and you super saturate them from today.
Oh, they're already saturated. Everything on this property is stayed saturated.
Well, then you'll be fine. And I'm sure that a few of your beds are under like the shelter of your house or under the shelter of some of the trees that are in your yard, right?
Yeah.
So then it should work out. And you have a pretty good wind break as well. So even with the, yeah, because the wind coming from the north is going to hit your fence and the arecas. So you have like an extra fluffy blanket in there for them. Your landscape should survive with minimal damage, if any at all. You know, sometimes I have to talk myself off the ledge when it comes to these things here in my yard too, because I'm like, I have all these little tropical things and it's not but I'm the person who was scheming to put 2 mango trees on my property in Alabama because they could go down to 29 degrees at night. Have a great day, Karen. Stay safe. Enjoy
Merry Christmas, everybody.
All righty. Nancy, you stay safe, my dear.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Indeed.
All righty. Everyone stay safe. Enjoy yourselves. Remember to check in with someone else who you haven't seen in a while.